Well, I know this. Anyone who's ever tried to live knows this. So what you say about somebody else, anybody else, reveals you. What I think of you as being is dictated by my own necessities, my own psychology, my own fears and desires. I'm not describing you when I talk about you. I'm describing me. Now here in this country we've got something called a nigger. It doesn't in such terms, I beg you to remark, exist in any other country in the world. We have invented the nigger. I didn't invent him. White people invented him. I've always known, I had to know by the time I was 17 years old. What you were describing was not me, and what you were afraid of was not me. It had to be something else. You had invented it, so it had to be something you were afraid of, and you invested me with it. Now, if that's so, no matter what you've done to me, I can say to you this, and I mean it. I know you can't do any more, and I've got nothing to lose. And I know, and I've always known, and really always, that's part of the agony. I've always known that I'm not a nigger. But if I am not the nigger, and if it's true that your invention reveals you, then who is the nigger? I'm not the victim here. I know one thing from another. I know I'm going to be born and I'm going to be, I was born, I'm going to suffer, and I'm going to die. So the only way you get through life is to know the worst things about it. I know that a person is more important than anything else. Anything else. I learned this because I've had to learn it. But you still think, I gather, that the nigger is necessary. Well, he's unnecessary to me, so he must be necessary to you. So I give you your problem back. You're the nigger, baby, it isn't me.
Now I'm a black guy, but not a nigger, so I refuse to be referred to that name cause I'm a figure. Cause back in the days you'd be amazed that we was a digger, lighting up a cigarette as a slave, barely getting wages. Slave a cool maiden, couldn't read off the pages. That was for white people, they were the right people, knowing the right people but wanting to fight people. Thank God every day it wasn't good night people, but please listen to the words that I'm spitting. Every word was a hitting, word was a hitting in the slavery times. Selling our people on the front page of the Times. That's news for you when you say nigga. Does it snooze on you? Does it bruise on you when you say the word? Do you wonder who's on your food for thought? Are people fought for food? Why don't you replace nigga with that other word to you like nigga?
Oh shit, he said nigga, he said nigga. And everybody's looking at me like, so? He just said nigga.
Well, you got niggas in one of your records.
Niggas. He's talking about niggers. Niggers was the ones on the rope hanging out the stick. Niggas is the ones with gold ropes hanging out at clubs.
Yo. I'm from an area where niggas ain't scared of y'all, and every night I sweat like we're living with malaria. You say you inferior, well tell me this, why you inferior to me? Because the color of your wrist. Call each other nigga cause it's love, not a diss. Love to our people, we would never take the. But now it's the opposites. White girls giving me more knowledge than I can ever contemplate. So why I'm hating, making ups and downs? Would you rather us bowing down to a white man with a crown? Cause round here, the N-word, do we know it? And if we did, a little nigga, could he show it? Nigga this, yo, a nigga that. Do we abuse the word? Now that's a fact.
Negro.
Do we abuse
Noor.
the word? Now that's a fact.
Nero, Mahogany, Ebony, Nubian, Black. All of these words have the same meaning. Negro is a Spanish noun, descendant of the word Niger meaning black. Somewhere in history, it was translated to the N-word by those who referred to us as economically, politically, or socially disenfranchised. Instead of the kings and queens, princes and princesses that we really are. We are descendants of the continent of Africa, countries like Niger and Nigeria hold our rich heritage. Unfortunately, this misinterpretation of our heritage has been perpetuated among our own race. Rather than obliterate this disrespectful term, we have adopted it as a cultural phrase. You've heard it. What's up, my N-word? Or maybe you said it. Get out of my face, N-word. So I'll be taking this word to use it in our everyday language to communicate to or about ourselves. Let me dispel the myth. As a people, we are neither economically, politically, nor socially disenfranchised. 56 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, there is an emergence of blacks who capitalize on their God-given talent. Embodied with the character of self-dedication, they join together to make a new movement, the New Negro Movement to be exact. And if this name doesn't ring a bell, then you might be more familiar with the Harlem Renaissance, a band of writers, actors, musicians, poets, and inventors came together for a new beginning. This explains Renaissance, which means reborn. People like Jasbo Brown, the name synonymous with the introduction of jazz, Duke Ellington, a jazz musician, Marcus Garvey, a civil rights activist, and Langston Hughes, a poet laureate. So who you calling the N-word? We have held such coveted offices in the history of this nation, and affirmative action had nothing to do with it. According to the definition, an N-word will never be a lawyer, a doctor, or a teacher. We have held such esteemed offices as chairman of the FCC like Michael Powell, Joint Chiefs of Staff like his father Colin Powell, Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America like President Barack Obama. Oprah Winfrey would never have the success she's experienced or the distinction of being the richest woman in America if she had allowed a termination from her job to economically disenfranchise her. Instead, her presence is required in the most elite social and political domains. So I'm sending a message to everyone who knowingly or ignorantly uses this word to describe our people. Whether you're a gangster rapper who uses it to communicate with your boys, or someone who looks down on those of us who haven't got a college education. Whatever the case, it's time to discontinue the use of this word. It is implausible that 40 years after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that we still use this word that holds no worth in our lives or our future. So I'm petitioning you to join me in deleting this word from our vocabulary as a people, as a nation, and the world.